Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us to this episode of NYW Discuss, series that we just started about things that we discuss when we discuss them off air. And one of the topics that we always discuss off air is our favorite books. You know, we can't talk enough about them. You know, we figured, you know what, let's share that with you guys, with the community. Who knows? You might think there's a book that I might like. You realize, oh, Biggs, I never knew Biggs like that book. You know what I mean? The same thing for Josh and Erod and everybody. But before we get started, you know, all my guys here, they have their own channels. They do their own things. We're going to go down the line. That way they can let you know what's the last thing they did and where they can find you. I'm going to start with Josh. Josh, tell the good people what you got going
on. Nick and I just did a CGC unboxing on our channel at Josh Grav Comics, which that name is going to get changed soon. I just don't know to what. I've been saying that for a while. And then we have some more stuff coming in shortly, so be on the lookout for that. And then Mike will talk about East Meets West.
Yeah, man, definitely, guys. And again, Josh's link is in the description below. Dope ass, CGC unboxing, guys. You already know who you're gonna see fire in those unboxings. Then we got my man Joker. Joker, what's going on, man?
Yeah, man, you already know East Meets West on my channel, Joker, hashtag East Meets West Comics. You can catch CBSI's Friday FOC with East Meets West on my channel every Fridays. We drop it at noon. My man Josh drops the list for CBSI. Shout out to Josh for that, man. Always, I always like doing those videos with Josh. And we also have our live podcast show, man, every other Sundays, guys, 7 p.m. Eastern. So tune in for that, man. Interact with us in the chat. The chat is always popping, man. But yeah, man. Other than that, I'm always with my bros here, man. You already know.
Yeah, and if you guys didn't catch this past Sunday's stream, it's a good one, guys. They broke down fandom, and there was a lot of nice comments in the chat. Check it out, guys. This is a good episode. And then next week, got my man Erod, aka the Master Presser, aka the Presser's Presser in the house. What's up, Erod?
What's going on, fellas? How's everything?
Good. So what's the latest in your channel? What you dropped? I know you just dropped the video.
I dropped the video today, but it's got to be redone because the sound is off. Something's off with the way that the videos are syncing, so I have to figure it out. If not, I'm probably going to go live probably Wednesday and just do that. But we're going to go over CGC submission and what the thought process into what books I'm sending and why I send them.
Okay, guys, you already know when you get Erod, you're gonna get a lot of information, a lot of knowledge on what he does. So make sure you guys sub him up. I'm pretty sure you are. He's way past us already. Yeah. But just in case you don't know, in case you're new here and you haven't seen Erod, the link is in the description below. And last but not least, we got my man Eli, Easy to Game Hunter in the house. So Eli, what's up, man?
What's going on? What's happening, everybody? Catch me on my channel. I haven't done anything in a minute. It's just been really busy. I've been really hectic at work. I have like no time to really make videos. So I'll usually come on here with the guys. That's like my time to like talk about comics and nerd and geek out with everybody. But this week I'm doing a recap with my friend Perry on his channel, The Game Complainers, which I should also mention he's doing a giveaway on his channel. He's trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and he's giving away an Xbox Series S on his channel. So this week we're going to be doing our Attitude of Extreme, which is our wrestling podcast, where we're going to be recapping No Mercy 2001 for all you wrestling fans. So we're going to be doing that this Thursday. So catch that live around like 10 p.m. You can watch it on the rewind as well. But that's really all I got going on. That's all I got coming up for right now. So
all right, cool. So guys, even though that channel is new to me also, the link will be in the description. I'll get it from Eli by the time this video posts, and it'll be there so you can catch him doing his wrestling podcast thing. All right, guys, so let's get started real quick. Favorite books, man. This is a topic that we always talk about, right? And sometimes these books change up, you know what I mean? Sometimes this is my favorite book for now, and then this is my favorite book for later. Or there's books in the bin that all of a sudden, like somebody will recognize and be like, "Yo, Biggs, this is here. I know you like this book." And we've done that many times. So we're gonna show you what books we pick up that we like. That doesn't matter how many copies. Yeah, go ahead.
The only thing we have to qualify this. I don't think it's necessarily that this is like my. Or at least
it's of our favorite books, meaning that we can have more.
We have more. Yeah, we have more.
Yeah. Well, right, but I thought it was also too like it's books that you can't pass up when you see them. They're not that. Yeah.
General consensus to all that, and I know the list, and all these books are pretty attainable that are on here. Exception maybe for one or maybe two that are hard to find, but most of the books are books that we see all the time in every show. So let's just get right into it. I'm gonna start with my man Joker. He's first, and this is one of his books, and I knew he was gonna pick this series right here first because this is one of his go-to. So Mike.
Oh yes, everybody knows. Yeah, me and my FF Silver Age. I'm in the process of getting. Yeah, laugh at me. 1 through 100. Yeah, 1 through 100. Fantastic Four. It's gonna be a nice long haul. But yes, definitely, man. Issue 18 here though, man. First appearance of Super Skrulls. One of my favorite books. I obtained this book about 5 years ago for $200. And it came back 4.0. Roll copy. And the reason why I kind of like want to put this up, for everybody to see is, this book right here, it's making moves, here and there. But this right here, the reason why I kind of spec myself on this book is, we got Secret Invasion coming out, and the FF's just right around the corner. You never know what's gonna happen. And with Secret Invasion, FF, coming down later down the line, a few years from now, this is a big bad for them. I feel like, you know what I mean? So this is just my spec for myself, and I love getting, bam, right there. See, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those books that I feel like people should have. You know what I mean? I feel like that book that gets overseen a lot by certain, by people. So listen, man, just a FYI for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to add to you too, and it's one of those books that you could consider it a spec book now because that character Super Skrull has not been involved, but it has a lot of longevity because they already introduced Skrulls in the MCU, but they haven't introduced Super Skrull and they haven't introduced the FF yet. So that means that book, and so although with Secret Invasion you're gonna get Skrulls, we don't know if you're gonna get Super Skrull yet, and we haven't gotten Fantastic Four. So it has a long, it's right now is the time to get it. Right now.
And Fantastic Four, again, it's one of the early Marvel superhero books, so it's definitely, any Fantastic Four book from like 1 through, any of those Jack Kirby issues.
1 through 100.
101, actually.
Yeah.
101.
Oh, 101. That's right.
So they should be on anybody's list.
Yeah, definitely. And so we're gonna move it along. I'm gonna go to my man. We're gonna jump from Mike. Mike has another book. We're gonna go back later, and we're gonna go to Erod right now. Erod, and Erod. When I think of Erod, this is what I think of. This title, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. X-Men number 133 from May of 1980. So this is the first solo cover that Wolverine is ever depicted on. But more importantly, this is my childhood book. It's one of those books I loved to read when I was a kid. There's nothing better than Wolverine when he's underneath in those tunnels fighting all the guards, and you get to see the ferocity that he has for the first time. It's the first time you see him really get violent. Amazing, amazing book. So I picked this up. I picked up 2 copies when we were over at the Little Giant show, and I'll pick that book up every time if it's in high grade. And that book now has started to see a spike because people are recognizing it, and it's becoming kind of a Wolverine kick.
Yeah, I've been looking at I looked at all the prices of all these books as I was creating the slides, and I was so surprised at how that book has gone up, man.
It's crept up in the last year. It's crept up a lot.
Yeah, but Wolverine, man, that's you, man. Ever since I've known you, you've been just a huge Wolverine fan, Yeah, I remember the first AOK I gave you like 5 years ago was a Wolverine book. Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. So who's next? You know what? Let's go with the Grav man right here. Josh, this is Josh's pick right here, and this title is gonna be in one of his picks, his favorite title, one of his favorite titles. Yeah, Josh.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So ASM 316 from 89. Oh, I thought this. No, you're right. It is 89.
Yeah.
Third appearance of Venom, sort of, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it. It could be, or it could be more like his 5th or 4th. But the first appearance of Venom on the cover, also, again, if you don't count 315 with that little face that's there, but maybe one of McFarlane, or maybe not one of that. It definitely is one of, but maybe McFarlane's most iconic piece. Maybe certainly on Spider-Man. I guess 300 may take the number 1 spot, but to me, this is what symbolizes McFarlane on the ASM run for me. I just love this cover, and every time I see this book, as long as it's like really high grade, I will pick it up every time. I have good memories of this book, even from the short time that I've been doing this. 9/8 of this book went up as high as $1,800 for a direct version. It's come back down, you know, a little bit. It's like, you know, they go between like 1,000 to 1,200 for a 9/8 for a direct, and then obviously higher for a newsstand. But you know, up until like, I don't know, maybe 8 months ago, you could still, every 9/8 copy that I got raw, I bought for $50 or less. And for some reason, I don't know how you guys see this book, but like, this book is not easy to find. I never see this book in shops, like ever. I never see it.
If I see one, it's usually
not raw.
Like a beat
Yeah,
copy.
Yeah,
this is a go-to book, man. It's one of those books that you see it and you just grab it. You know what I mean? I agree with everything you said. The only thing I think is missing, and what to me what defines Spider-Man for McFarlane doing him, is his webs. No one ever did Spider-Man's webs like McFarlane did, and if you could see them on that cover, I think that would have been the final touch on that cover right there.
The one thing too with the interior, if you've never read this book, the art on the interior, to me anyway, is so good. Like it just shows how like fierce Venom is in the beginning, like when he's just like tearing Black Cat's like clothes apart, and she's just sitting there all like battle wounded, and her clothes are literally like torn off of her. He's just a beast, you know, in the early.
Yeah, definitely he is. He's a beast. And the third appearance of Venom, I wasn't gonna write that on there, but then I noticed that's how cover price lists.
That's how most people will list it. Yeah.
So that's why
appears in 15.
I was just gonna write, you know, originally when you picked that book, I was just gonna put, you know, first cover appearance, and then when I looked it up to see sales on it, you know, just to check it on cover price, I noticed it's a third.
Yeah.
Third appearance of it. I said, you know what? Let me add that since it's on there. You know. Yeah. So, Josh, awesome book to pick. Next is me, and I don't know. People that have known me for a long time, when they see this book, they'll know. Oh yeah, that's right. Biggs loves this book. You know what I mean? But people that are new to the channel probably not. They're gonna know why. But I explain to you why it's
Batman 121.
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yes, right. See, Erod said, "Oh yeah." So we have here Marvel 2 Annual number 7, featuring the Thing from January of 1982. This is the first appearance of Champion, and it's also the first appearance of the Power Stone, you know, aka or later dubbed the Infinity Gem, because they were called Power Stones before Infinity Gems. You know, when they first appeared in the Marvel, you know, in the Marvel universe in the comics, and so. The appearance of the Infinity Gems, they're not really put out there like this is the book where that gem first appeared, that gem first appeared. The way you find the appearances of those of the Infinity Stones is the original cosmic beings that carried them. When you find their first appearance, that's where you find the first appearance of that stone. You know, the Space Stone. Just find which cosmic being held it. That Thanos took it from it. You find out who had him during Thanos' quest. During Dane's quest, it shows you his quest on how he attained each stone, and you'll know where each stone came from.
I still have never read that.
This book is such an awesome read. So they're fighting Champion, and Champion is like this super strong guy, and you see everyone there in the background: Sasquatch, the Hulk. Everybody tried to fight this guy in the ring, and they could not take him down. But you know who had the most heart in this book? The Thing. The Thing showed mad heart in this book. And he did the job against this guy, you know what I mean? And also the cover is one of my favorite covers, and one of my favorite underrated artists, Ron Wilson. It's just a book that I feel should be worth more, but this book goes for nothing, guys. So if you see this in the back issue bins, man, you pick this up, man. It goes for nothing. You know, very, very underrated book, you know, and just one of my favorite. When I see it, I pick it up. I got about 2 copies of this. I got one signed by Ron Wilson. I got another 9.4. And if I find more, I pick it. It's just a go-to book for me, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. I like that one.
One of the definitely iconic books that people really overlook.
That people pass over. Yeah, they overlook. Yeah,
you know, and you kind of see like to tie in, you know, Thing's little story there with Champion, like to the Hulk. You know, recently, you know, Thing went toe to toe with the Hulk, and he actually got the upper hand. You know, this time usually it's the other way around sometimes, but you can kind of see like where things, heart and stuff comes from, especially from that book. So it's definitely recommended. Like you pick it up for the story and just, you know, the first appearance in that book.
That book solidifies that this thing has the biggest heart out of all of them, no matter how, even though he's not the strongest out of all of them.
Yeah.
You know. So next we're gonna pick one of Eli's books right now, and we're gonna go to this one here.
Yeah.
Bam. Go ahead, Eli.
Iron Fist. Number 14, August 1977. 20 years, 20 or 19 years before I was born. First appearance of Sabertooth. I mean, what more can I say? A lot of people don't expect, you know, to see stuff from me like that. Like I'm a very well-rounded kind of like collector. Like I love modern stuff. I love stuff from the golden age. But one of the things that resonates with me from, you know, being a kid is growing up with the X-Men cartoon and seeing Sabertooth, Wolverine, reading my uncle's old Sabertooth comics. If you remember the Sabertooth miniseries from 92, 93. That was a really great book, a really great miniseries. And you really get to see like the ferocious side of Sabertooth and kind of like the kind of tender, more intimate side of Sabertooth in that miniseries as well. But this is just an iconic book to me that I think people still kind of overlook, and it's still kind of undervalued. I've seen like 7.5s for less than $600. But the book it's starting to climb. People are starting to catch on, especially with the X-Men keys. Now's really the time to get any type of X-Men key, and you're going to see another X-Men key in my picks a little later. But Sabertooth is definitely one of my favorite villains from the X-Men. So I had to pick this. I still don't have this book. I need this book. So if anybody's trying to sell me one for 7.5 or whatever, you know, hit me up. But I definitely love it.
It's definitely a good pick, man. And you know, one thing I want to add to it before we move it along, you associate that character with Wolverine, and you would think that it'll be in an X-Men book or a Wolverine book that would have been his first appearance, but it's not. It's Iron Fist.
And that was always, that was always one of the things I wondered as a kid too. Was like, what was his first appearance? You know, and back then first appearances really weren't kept track of all that well. Yeah. And if you read some of those like old Marvel encyclopedias, you'll see they get it wrong like a lot, like what the first appearance of characters are. So, but yeah, it was dope to find out that, hey, Iron Fist was the first one to actually fight Sabertooth. So, and it's a good story, a great fight in that issue too. So definitely great book, man.
So we're gonna move it along now to Mike. Mike, we got your second choice right here, and this is one of my favorite books too. But you got it.
Yes. Shazam 28, man. Y'all already know, man. First appearance of Black Adam since Golden Age. Second overall, yes, that's right, Biggs. And first appearance in DC Comics. Dude, this book right here is this is one of my favorite books in my collection. I mean, if you can take that layout real quick down, you can see, you know, boom.
Wait, hold on. I got you, man. You can see the real deal right there.
Oh, man, 9.4 too, huh?
Yeah, there you go, man.
Big boys there.
That 9.4 is going up crazy price, man.
That's a crazy expensive book now.
Yeah, so yeah, man. Basically, dude, everybody's seen DC fandom recently. They saw what The Rock was gonna bring. What they didn't see fully what The Rock is gonna bring with Black Adam, that character. But I am excited, man. And just a side note, you know, these are my honorable mentions, real quick, too, man. I'm prepared for Black Adam, man. When it comes to that, you know what I mean. So I'm loaded. I'm ready for that. You know,
298 there, Mike.
Huh?
298 there.
298 and 196.
Let me highlight that guy one time. There you go.
Look at that. That's pretty right there, bro.
And listen, I got a good presser. That's why, you know what I mean.
That's a pretty book, no matter what, man.
but you know, definitely a book that I always like to pick up. I know the 28s now are getting crazy expensive now because of, you know, the movie getting closer and closer. But these are books that you should have in your collection already before the hype. You know, the Black Adams too. I was collecting that 2 years before, you know, the Rock started talking about it on DC Fandom. And those 9.8s are getting kind of crazy up there too, peaking up there to the 1,000, 1,200 marks. So, you know, I mean, those are my two books that Big showed off. One Marvel I picked and one DC. You know what I mean? But I have one more honorable mention I mentioned at the end of the video after these guys.
All right, cool, man. Yo, that's an amazing book. I love that book. And when I get to, you know, now it's harder and harder to get now, that book, man. You don't hardly see it. I
it's-
didn't see it really too much, you know.
It's more attainable than his first appearance. I'll tell you.
Well,
that.
you know what's
Yeah.
you know what's the other book you can still get though is that Justice is it the Justice League the black cover.
Another Alex Ross cover too.
Yeah, the Alex Ross.
That thing
Alex
is amazing.
Ross. Yeah. That's a good
anything
book, too.
Alex Ross touches is freaking gold.
Yep.
Like,
Not so underrated artist anymore, Alex Ross.
No, his stuff's starting to pick up a little more.
So we're gonna move on to the next book. We got my man Erod right here with his second choice right here, and I know Erod has like multiple of these. Always picking this book up.
Yeah, I think I got like 10 of these right now. And there's the 1 in 25 also, but Marvel Point 1 from 2011, first appearance of Sam Alexander as Nova. So this book right here, I have a lot of hope for this book. It's a good read, but the actual Nova series that Sam Alexander runs through was an excellent read. So if you're following the tea leaves and you're watching what's going on with Marvel, you're seeing that we're going towards a youth movement with Riri Williams, and you're getting Kamala Khan coming. You will eventually get Miles Morales. Well, who else rolls with that crew and is part of the champion? Sam Alexander. So I'm not saying Sam is going to be the first Nova, but somewhere along the line, probably in a Disney Plus series, I can anticipate them bringing in Sam Alexander into.
They need to.
It's fresh. It's a fresh, new, young character that they could do so much with. So I like that pick.
And I like his origin. He's one of the few new Marvel characters that I really like. Besides Miles, he had a really good introduction. So
and the thing with him that I liked a lot is all the turmoil, and that is kind of what happened to Nova. If you read the original Nova series, teenage turmoil and all of that stuff. Same thing happens to Sam trying to go to school and people finding out his secret identity, trying to protect his family. It's all tied in. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
definitely a character to watch. Yeah,
hard to find in 982. It's kind of like first Kamala Khan and same with Amadeus Cho.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit about those books really, and it shows. Like I've yet to find any of those three out there that even might be a 9.8, and I've seen a lot of them.
I got one in the 9.8.
That man.
You
got one in the 9.8, Erod?
Yeah, I have a 9.8 on this, Sam.
You're spot. Josh is spot on with that. Every copy I've gotten of that book, always massive spine ticks.
The Amadeus Cho is also a thicker book.
Yeah.
And that just takes a beating, man. But you're right. People didn't care. Think about it. It's 2011. Kamala Khan is 2014 for the
for the Marvel Point 1. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
like it's kind of like, and this is why you can't sleep on new characters, because they were throwaway characters to some people at a point, but guess what? They're not throwaways now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Marvel was telling us this is the future. Literally, let me. People don't notice. What was the slide back up? Look at the top there. The future begins here, guys. Come on.
Yeah, Sam Alexander, right?
It says it right there. The future begins here. So
great pick, man, with that Sam Alexander. With this plenty like he picked Kamala Khan, all that. Listen, man, when it comes to these champions characters, man, if not even the Marvel Point 1s, you can also get like those rare champion covers. Get those covers, because I feel like the champions are the next generation of Avengers.
The one I need and I don't have is that Alex Ross cover.
Yes.
My God, that is such a fantastic cover. But then and remember, second wave of champions, you have America Chavez in there.
Yes,
part of the team. So it doesn't have to be.
White Tiger isn't White Tiger a champion too?
I don't know.
That's like another. That's to me.
Female White Tiger you're talking about, right?
The female White Tiger.
The female, right? Yeah. But, it's just another. They could take from one group and take from another group, combine, make it a whole group, and you'll have America Chavez, who's definitely coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. So
Young Avengers, they're gonna set up for that.
Yeah, that Young Avengers is a done deal. You could see that coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Well, not as many people are anticipating the champions.
No.
Great pick on me, Rod. Don't pick.
Thank you.
Yep, they wasn't anticipating Young Avengers either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
We were.
That was a good run. I actually one of the first runs I picked up.
Yeah, that's a good miniseries. That's a real good miniseries.
Yeah.
And what's involved in it? Kang's involved all throughout that.
He's reviewed. No one knew that. When I was reading that and I saw that I read that Iron Lad was Kang from the future. I was like, oh my god, my mind was
Yeah.
blown. I
Yeah,
was
the
like,
first time you heard that,
whoa.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and he was already his Iron Man suit was already nanotech and everything.
Yep.
You know, so you could even pinpoint that a little bit to his nanotech armor that he in Infinity War, in the movie Infinity War, that
Yeah.
that was the way they probably got the idea or something, you know.
I got one book left of each of these guys. Sam Alexander, Kamala. Like I have one last copy. Of
just save those.
So,
save those.
So I'm saving them because I bought these books in dollar bins, quarter bin. Like you guys were saying, man, people really overlook these kinds of books.
So next, we got Josh's second pick, guys, and this is definitely a Josh book right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite books. Just in general, and of the past year and going forward. I love Killmonger, as a lot of people know. I like the whole Jungle Action run from issue 6 all the way to the end. I think there's a lot of potential sleeper books in this run that don't go for much. A lot of characters that I think between the Wakanda show that they're gonna do, Black Panther 2, whatever the future of Black Panther is after Black Panther 2, I think you could see maybe some of those characters showing up in maybe like gender swap roles, like kind of how they did with Flag Smasher. A lot of little characters like that they could throw in anywhere, not even necessarily in the Black Panther movie, but maybe, like I said, in that show. But Jungle Action 6 with Killmonger, up until about 6 months ago, that book was doing nothing, and nobody cared about that book. And I to this day continue to scoop them up as long as they're like 8.0 or higher. I'll grab it every single time. The other thing that's kind of cool about this book, for it being an early 70s book, it's very rare to not find this book with white pages. It's very rare. Like an 8.0 to 9.0 copy is usually between $500 and $1,000.
Yeah.
I still to this day have never seen a 9.8. Actually, the highest I've ever seen is a 9.6. But just a book that you will now see. It's pretty common to see at shows. Every time I kind of see them at shows, they're kind of beat up usually. But every once in a while, you will find a high grade copy of one, and if you do, grab it. I think the potential for Killmonger is so big because of a bunch of different reasons. I just think Michael B. Jordan is just too big of an actor for them to kind of just be a one and done. You've seen him come back in What If. I still believe he will be the Black Panther one day, and I still think too that he's a character where even if they don't use him as Black Panther or in a movie going forward, that they could do a show on him. And that mini series that they did with him in 2018, I think Brian Hill wrote it, was a really good series, really good, which kind of tells the time between when he gets out of college and before he goes back to Wakanda, which is what happens in Jungle Action 6. If you haven't read it, it's great. But I did a Killmonger spec video on my channel. Go check that out. There's a bunch of characters in that whole.
Great information in that video, guys. Great information that Josh put out on Killmonger and why he
Jungle Action Omnibus. Where is it, Marvel?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And
hey Josh, do you think that book will dip if the news that he possibly is going to be in the MCU doesn't come through?
Yes. Yes, but I think I've always thought that he will show up in Black Panther 2. I don't think he will be the Black Panther, obviously, in Black Panther 2. I think you'll get him at the way end or something like that if he shows up. I don't know. I don't know if it'll. I don't think if it dips, it'll dip a little bit. It's not that big of a book right now, even, so I don't know how much it'll dip. But if he does show up, and God forbid if they ever made him the Black Panther,
nuclear.
Yeah, goodbye.
He has the great. He has the story that everyone likes. His story is the story of he's the fallen prince.
Yeah,
and the fallen prince has been done in countless things, and people like that. I like it. We all like it. So, and also just to add with the what if series is canon to the MCU. So he's there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to count them in, even though it's animation. He's there. It's canon. You know, Feige said, "What if it's canon?" So he's there. We'll see him. We will. It's just a matter of time. All right. So moving on. Oh, my book is next. So my first book was a Marvel book, so you know the next book has to be a DC book, and this is one of my favorite books right here. This is Justice League of America 21 from August of 1963. Awesome book. It's the first Silver Age appearance of Hourman, Dr. Fate, Icicle Wizard, and it's the first time Earth 1 was named.
Yep.
You know, so all those characters are all Golden Age characters, so their first appearances in the Golden Age are nearly almost impossible to get. So with DC, a lot of their Silver Ages are, appearances are the ones that are most are attainable right now. But even this book, it's very hard to get in a high grade, man. I have two of these right now at CBCS, submitted on them. One is, I know it's definitely a lower grade, and one is a higher grade, but I'm not sure what grades they're gonna come back because it's been so long. I don't remember what I thought, and I never wrote it down. But great book to have. Some of these characters already appeared in the Stargirl CW show, but this book right now, it's if you look, there's a lot of copies moving, and that's because Dr. Fate, he's going to be in the Black Adam movie, so it ties into Black Adam also, and this is the first time the Justice Society of America crossed path with Justice League of America. So There's so much going on with this book, so much. Very difficult to get in high grade, but I've seen it multiple times. It's still, people have it on their walls, and they don't have it for much money, guys. I've seen copies for about $100, $125. The copy I just bought at New Hampshire, I only paid $150 for it. Yeah. And for this book, that's an amazing price in my opinion. So that's why I love this book.
They consider this too a part of the Crisis storyline as well, because this is when the Injustice Society got introduced as well, like issue 22, when they started going into the different, this is when they started exploring the different Earths. And
Earth 3 in that, right?
Yeah.
What happened?
Earth 3 is.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. You were.
No, I said, isn't that Earth 3 with all the villains, right?
Yeah, that was issue 22 or 23, I think, and that's when they introduced them. So, but it's definitely a great issue from the Silver Age. Like, if you're trying to get all these like Silver Age characters, and obviously you can't obtain the Golden Age ones because they're just not out there and they're not cheap when you find them. This is definitely a good book, crossing over with the Justice League as well, because I mean, you can't get any better than that. So it's a great pickup if you're a DC fan, any fan, keys like that. So definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And now we're up to the last book, which is actually Eli's book. And this is one of my favorites. This could have easily been on my list too. Love this book. But go ahead, Eli.
Yeah, again, X-Men keys that I just freaking love. And to me, this is probably, if you top 5 works of Jim Steranko, this is it. X-Men 50. November 1968. A lot of people at first, this is one of those misconception issues as well, where people thought this was her first appearance. But obviously, issue 49, issue before this, was the first appearance of Polaris. But this one gets the most love just because of how phenomenal this cover is. I mean, you just look at the green, you look at the yellow, the black, how it all blends. This is just a really artistic cover, and one of the best, again, top 5 Jim Steranko covers. This is her first cover appearance. It's her second appearance. An underrated X-Men. I think if you read the 90s X Factor run, she definitely gets a lot more love in that than she ever did in the X-Men. And I think now with her on the current X-Men team, actually being a big significant part of that team, I think we could see some good stuff from her in the future. She's always been in not the Gifted. Is it the Gifted show?
Yeah, she was in the. She was the main.
She was really big in that show.
Yeah, she was the main character. Yeah, and she it was getting really good too. The second season, that ending, she was accepting her role as Polaris. She made herself the Magneto crown, basically. Yeah, and it was just starting to get freaking good, and they canceled it. Fox canceled it because that was the merger.
That show was actually underrated. It was a really good show. I wish that they had kept on with
gotta
that show
see it.
because it was introducing some good characters. It was done well.
That show
'cause
fell on
I've
the
seen,
cracks
like-
with the.
I've
Yeah,
seen
that's the
clips
whole
of-
Fox thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen clips of Polaris from that show. I haven't seen the whole show, so I definitely got to check it out. Because again, Polaris to me, she's like I love all the underrated X-Men. Like I like Jubilee, I love freaking Bishop, I love Polaris. You know, Multiple Man was one of my favorite, real characters as well. I like all the underrated X. Like they're all my favorites. Like I can't choose one X-Men. That I love them all.
All right.
But yeah.
All right, so that was it, guys. That was all the picks that we got, man. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comments what you guys like.
Before you do that,
before I'm not gonna end it yet. I'm not gonna end it yet. I was just gonna, remind the guys, leave a comment, guys. Let us know what you think about these picks. Let us know, if we should have mentioned anybody else. But before we end, guys, we got ourselves some, honorable mentions. I know a couple of the guys got a few honorable mentions here. So we're gonna start with Erod. My man Erod was excited about his honorable mention. Go ahead.
Oh.
Oh, me, yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna show you this one. Ready? This is a book.
Let me highlight you.
You guys have been following me. You know that every time I go to a show, if this book's in decent condition, I'm picking it up. I feel it's underrated.
Definitely.
This book segues and is before two books that broke off of two books. Okay, if you understand what I'm talking about, you'll see it right now. But that book right there, it is so underrated. I mean, this predates Iron Man 1, Submariner 1, which have both blown up, and yet this book does not see its due. Look at that cover. That thing is fantastic. And then, this is when Tales of Suspense and Tales to Astonish broke off, and they got their own titles. Before that, they gave them a one-shot.
Nice.
And that's it. And this is a condition-sensitive book because of the white background. So you'll find a lot of these are tough to get in the white background. There's a lot of tanning to these books. So find this book in a good grade. Tough to find. I have a 9.2 on this, and that's the best one I've been able to get.
Yeah, that's a great book,
Awesome
man.
cover.
Great book, man. I know, Mike. I know you had an honorable mention also.
Real quick, man. My thing too. This is definitely an affordable book, guys, man. I'm a Batman guy, so I'm gonna go with Batman #1 from New 52, man. These books right here, it's just amazing covers, and this is the first #1. This is the first #1 right since the Golden Age for Batman.
First time Batman was ever rebooted. Yeah,
exactly. He was, first time he was rebooted. I'm just gonna go through the copies. Some of them I have, man. It's a Walmart variant, man. We have the second print, nice second print. We have the third print.
Nice.
I'm missing the fourth print. I need a fourth print. I need the Warner Brothers lot. I think exclusive. Josh, am I right? That's what it is.
The Warner Brothers the studio tour, the VIP one.
That one, yes. I have the fifth print.
Which is the best one.
Which is the best one. I have the Alamo City one.
Mm-hmm.
And
only 600 copies of that one.
And I got the 1 in 200. Shout out to Josh on that one. So.
Yeah, I forgot you had that one. Yeah,
I forgot about that one.
So yeah, man, those books, man, great story. This is one of my favorite Batmans. When it comes to Batman stories, it's like not everybody can write a good Batman story. And Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, that combination is one of the best Batman. Yeah, they could tell a crazy Batman story.
That Court of Owls, I mean, I literally was like enthralled by that thing. I just had to read it. I actually went out. I had the books. I still have the books because I saved those. And I bought the graphic novel on that because I just had to read it all the way through. And I recommend it to everybody. Anybody that want to talk about Batman, that is a great segue to reading Batman. You read that and you don't like Batman, you're an ass because that book is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
I remember when that book was coming out, 2012. The anticipation for that book. It was a comic book.
Every issue, man. I couldn't
Everybody
wait for
was
next
dying
month
for that.
to read that book.
Yeah.
The other thing,
grab them.
The other thing,
get them when they come out.
The other thing with that book too is, and I've seen it's happened twice now that it's happened to me, and it happened to Nick at Terrificon. There is a newsstand copy of issue 1, and it gets people don't even realize what it is, and it gets sold because that book only raw, even in a 9.8 canon, is like $50 to $100.
Not an expensive book.
No, it
anymore.
used to be.
Not anymore. Yeah, it used to be.
Well,
I wish.
So, like, it is possible to find that newsstand copy out there completely mismarked. Like Nick pulled a 9.8 candidate for $50 at Terrificon. I shit you not.
You pulled
I got
a newsstand candidate, Josh?
So when I first got into comics, I bought a New 52 set, and I didn't even know it was newsstand until like a year after I had it. I was sitting online with Peanut one day. I'm like, here, let's go through these New 52 books, because he wanted to see like all the variants and stuff. I'm like, I'd like to see if I have any newsstand copies of anything in this whole run. And the only one I had a newsstand of is issue 1.
Wow. Every main line New 52 book has a newsstand. Every single one.
Right, but remember that's less than 5. They're less than 5%.
Yeah, I have actually a detective newsstand number 1. I have number 1 newsstand.
And you know what's better than that though? Those things, not even spinner racks. Those things were in like Barnes and Nobles, and they used to get destroyed, man. So to get a good candidate for that book, wow, it's gotta be tough.
I know towards the end of the newsstand, like I got a ton of the newsstands. I got all the Batmans, all the final, the last couple issues of Batman, Mr. Bloom, all those keys. I got First Grail, the entire freaking Dark Side.
Yeah, that Court of Owls is an amazing read, in my opinion.
It is.
Good call, Mike. I like that
number
a lot. That's a good call.
That was a great honorable mention. But you know what killed that book? And I remember when that book got Rebirth killed that book. We were talking about this book during our early shows, and before Rebirth came, one of the first topics that we talked about was that this book is gonna die because of Rebirth. Because besides the first appearances, it's the first time Batman was ever rebooted. The first time anyone ever got a chance to buy a Batman #1 off the rack. So it's not like Spider-Man where you were up to like 4 or 5 volumes. Same thing with Superman. Never ever you got a volume 2 of Batman, and for us to be able to get it,
kept it going.
Rebirth came out. I said, "Oh, that shit is dead."
Yeah, they took the luster off of it because then it dropped
instantly, man. It went from a $200 9.8 to like $100 to $60 book, this.
Yeah, like 80, 90.
If you ask anybody who's not even a Batman fan, they know the basic. They know Long Halloween, Hush, but they also know the Court of Owls now. You talking about Court of Owls? Yeah, I know about Court of Owls. I read that. It's a good story. Telling you, it's a phenomenal. Go read it, man. If you haven't read it,
great set of villains. Like even now in the current Joker, the current Joker run revolves around the Court of Owls.
Like the other thing is obviously Snyder gets his due on this.
Yeah,
all 52 issues. There were some storylines in there that weren't so great, but I don't think Capullo gets enough credit.
Facts.
Because honestly, for a 52 issue run, I don't know if anyone has. None come to the top of my head that have a stronger 52 issue run besides Greg Capullo on Batman New 52. There is very few covers, very few that aren't at least good.
John Romita.
Well,
that's the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? And kind of what Josh is saying.
For modern, there's nobody.
For modern,
modern, there's nobody. Yeah. I mean, you the only person that could even come close, just in cover wise, is McFarlane with Spawn, maybe, Jim Lee, but it's not 50 issues.
No, it's not 50 issues.
No, that's what he's talking about. He runs the full
entire run.
Yeah.
Damn, you're right. Yeah.
And the thing with it is also, if you're into it, when you go to the cons and you get to meet both of those guys, nicest guys in the world, man.
Dope.
Yeah. Super fan friendly. Talk heavy metal to Capullo, and you're golden, because he's a big metalhead. But Snyder's a local boy too, and he's up in Long Island. He's just a gentleman. Every time we go meet him, I mean, we've met him at Midtown and a bunch of other places. Always just,
Yeah, he goes to Marky. Marky has met him many times because he goes.
Well, he's met Marky's LCS, right?
Yeah, Fourth World
comics. They keep him in the basement. That's what you.
I've got an honorable mention. This kind of goes along with a couple things. So, I mean, this book has finally gotten its sort of due, but this leads into another point that I have. So, I think this right here, ASM 194, even though most people know what it is. This didn't even start really doing anything for like, I don't know, maybe up until about 8 months, a year ago. I've gotten extremely lucky with this book. This is like one of my luckiest books ever. But that being said, books that I will always pick up no matter what is any of the ASM keys, like the big keys from 194 to like 361, because when people start off collecting, you could take me off the full screen. When people start collecting, they're always going to go for ASM 252 or Secret Wars 8 or ASM 238. It's all these keys that they will always gravitate towards first, and they're such easy sells. But this book, I see what I've been trying to do lately is trying to find some of these books that aren't like crazy expensive in 9/8 right now, but have the potential when and if they ever show up like in the MCU that they're just gonna go like bonkers. Like I almost bought it like a Tomb of Dracula 10 9.8 like months and months ago. And if I had bought it, I would have made then and sold it now, I'd have made like $25,000. Like those are the kind of books to be like looking at now. The ones that, it might cost you like a couple thousand right now, 2,000-3,000, whatever it is. But what will it be when they announce something on a character that is probably eventually going to appear?
How about that Tomb of Dracula 1? That's a good spec.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Because if Marvel goes the horror route and they even get the rights to do Dracula,
screw Universal. I want to see that movie. Yeah, I get all because they have all the Universal monsters. Marvel. They got the Mummy guy. They got Frankenstein. Howling Commandos. Let's go. Frankenstein.
There you go.
Mummy.
Yeah. That Tomb of Dracula 2 #1. Not only that, it's just that first Dracula series. That's a beautiful Neil Adams cover, man.
Right. And it's a great. What's that? Gene Colan in there, right? That wrote that, right? I mean, read that. That's a good friggin' read.
There's a pretty good anime adaptation of Tomb of Dracula. If you guys ever seen it, it's called Dracula Sovereign of the Damned. It's actually done by Toei Animation. So it's a pretty dope, pretty well. The English, dub is kind of cheesy, but it's still a pretty good adaptation of the Tomb of Dracula comics. So definitely it's on YouTube for free too. So you can go check that out. After this or whenever you see this and all that. So.
Yeah, guys. So I think I'm gonna cut it here. This video's gone on way longer than I thought, but you guys got some quality information. I hope you guys enjoyed what you guys, been hearing. And let us know in the comments, man. Get involved in the conversation. I love to answer.
Honorable mention real quick.
Oh, you got honorable mention? I'm trying to end it. Tell me now.
I'm trying to end it, but I got one real quick.
Yeah. All right, guys. So real quick, guys, since because Eli, this is Eli, so we gotta give him his due. This story time with Eli. All right,
it's just honorable mention. Book, but I try to keep it short and sweet. So I know a lot of people kind of fell off the Valiant train for a little bit, but I think one book, if you're gonna get one book from Valiant that's in that universe, you got to get a Harbinger #1. Man. This is a book that needs to be in everybody's collection. A phenomenal story, Jim Shooter original creation. This was his freaking baby. This took him so long to kind of get off the ground with Valiant. If you ever, there's tons of videos on YouTube that talk about his struggles and trying to get his characters doing all this stuff with Valiant. A lot of people don't know the print runs on these are really, really low. That's why this book was a really big indie for the longest time, and it's still an affordable book. Like I got this copy for $150, $150 slabbed already. So
you got to make sure the coupons are in it, though.
It's in it. No,
I know that, but I'm saying
it wouldn't be.
Also, the thing with that book is that it's very sensitive to pressing, and the top staple pops out all the time. It's notorious for the staple tearing right through the book if it's improperly pressed. So 9/8 on that for the longest time were really high because you didn't get too many 9/8.
Yeah, and I think there's only like 40,000 copies of this book that he printed because I know back then he wanted to keep print runs kind of like to a certain number, and his number was like 40,000 per book. So that's why the pre-Unity people talk about the pre-Unity Valiant stuff, which this is. They talk about this because all the print runs on those were super low, all like under 40,000 copies, and 9/8 on some of them. Again, another book to really. I'm just happy with my 9/6. I'm happy I have the book at all. It took me years to get this book,
and you got to make sure there's I think there's like 2 coupons or whatever they are, those stamp things or whatever. There's not just one.
It's like a set. It comes with.
It connects to the back.
Yeah.
There's the coupon itself, and then there's the Magnus, there's like a card kind of.
Yeah, right, in the back. Because I found one with the thing in the front, but not in the back. And I almost made the mistake of
Yeah,
fine.
but this one's complete. You know,
And Valiant, you can't sleep on them. They're trendsetters, Valiant, because I think there was that Bloodshot issue. It was the first Chromium cover ever done, and from there you saw what happened with Chromium covers. Freaking Marvel and DC just ran with them,
Valiant started a lot of like the marketing stuff with the trading cards, with the storylines, the tie-ins. That's kind of where Valiant came in, but that was like kind of towards the end of Jim Shooter's. He really didn't want to go that route, but that was kind of towards the end of Jim Shooter's tenure there with Valiant. But again, this is a book like if you're into indies and obscure stuff, and like this is a book you want on your radar because it's only a matter of time. Valiant still has stuff in the works. They're still trying to get the movies done. The pandemic really kind of hit them hard because Valiant really wasn't doing, as well. But apparently that Bloodshot movie, it got a lot of love, after the fact, after the theaters. It broke even. It did okay. But I'm hoping for the Harbinger movie, and I hope they do it right, so.
All right. So, guys, that was story time with Eli. He's not going to let you go without giving you his story. And that's it, guys. Join us here next week again for another edition of, NY Warriors Discuss. And until the next time, peace.